Hello friends, today's question is.
A 34-year-old male with a squamous cell carcinoma undergoes surgical neck dissection. While attempting to ligate the superior thyroid artery, the surgeon accidentally damages a nerve that lies in close proximity to it. Which of the following nerves was most likely damaged? Options are A. External laryngeal nerve, B. Recurrent laryngeal nerve, C. Ansa cervicalis, and D. Hypoglossal nerve. The answer for this question is option A, external laryngeal nerve. That is, as you can see in the figure, it is external laryngeal nerve which lies close to superior thyroid artery. But the location of the external laryngeal nerve is away from the apex, so that it will be better if superior thyroid artery is ligated close to the apex. And similarly, at the base of the thyroid gland, we can see that the left recurrent laryngeal nerve and inferior thyroid artery lies close. So, inferior thyroid artery on ligation must be done away from the base. A male infant was born with very small mandible, micrognathia, reduced malar prominences, down slanting palpebral fissure, and malformed external ears. What is the diagnosis of the case? Options are A. Peary-Robin syndrome, B. Dye-George syndrome, C. Treacher-Collins syndrome, D. None of the above.
Now let's check about the other options.
This is the image of Treacher-Collins syndrome. The important clinical features of Treacher-Collins syndrome are malar hypoplasia, that is underdeveloped zygomatic bone, mandibular hypoplasia, downward slanting palpebral tissue, deformed external ears. This is the image of Peary-Robin syndrome. The clinical features are micrognathia, that is small mandible, glossoptosis, posteriorly placed tongue, obstruction of the upper airway, and U-shaped cleft palate. This is the image of Dye-George syndrome. Dye-George syndrome, the clinical features are it is actually microdeletion of long arm of chromosome number 22, and the clinical features mainly are abnormal development of neural crest cells, low set ears, fish mouth. A 56-year-old man comes to emergency department because of the persistent left wrist pain. While morning, walking 5 hours ago, fell forward to the ground and then landed with outstretched hands. Examination shows mild swelling over the dorsum of the left hand with preserved range of motion. There is point tenderness in the anatomical snuff box, and this patient is at great risk for developing which of the following complications? Options are A. Avascular necrosis, B. Carpal tunnel syndrome, C. Compartment syndrome, D. Dupuytren's contracture.
The answer for this question is avascular necrosis. And now let's see the details.
It is scaphoid fracture over here, and also the blood vessels like superficial palmar branch and dorsal scaphoid branch are also injured.
Now let's check about the other options.
Option B, carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome is caused by median nerve compression as it travels through the carpal tunnel. It is associated with the repetitive wrist movements, hypothyroidism, diabetes mellitus, and rheumatoid arthritis. Coming into option C, compartment syndrome. Compartment syndrome occurs when excessive pressure builds up inside an enclosed muscle space in the body. Compartment syndrome usually results from bleeding or swelling after an injury. It develops after significant trauma, particularly long bone fractures of the leg or forearm. Option D, Dupuytren's contracture. It is a benign, slowly progressive fibroproliferative disease of the palmar fascia. As the scarring progresses, nodules form on the palmar fascia and the fingers gradually lose their flexibility, eventually resulting in the contractures that draw the fingers into flexion. A 54-year-old senior manager fell down from the stairs. He was having severe pain in the right shoulder. He was taken to emergency OPD. On examination, the doctor observed that the officer was sitting on the chair with arm by the side of his body, and he was supporting his right elbow with his left hand. The inspection of right shoulder revealed the loss of his normal rounded contour and loss of skin sensation in the lower half of the deltoid region.
Any attempt to perform active or passive movement was stopped by severe pain in the shoulder. Which of the following nerve is injured? Answer options A. Median nerve, B. Ulnar nerve, C. Axillary nerve, and D. Radial nerve. The answer for this question is axillary nerve, and the main points from which we derive the answer is loss of skin sensation on the lower half of the deltoid region, then pain during the movement of the shoulder joint, and also the loss of normal contour of the shoulder joint. Now let's see the details. As you can see in the figure, it is the cutaneous branches of the axillary nerve which supply the skin of the lower portion of the deltoid region, and similarly it is the branches of the axillary nerve which supply the shoulder joint. So it is due to this condition that there is loss of sensation and there is pain during the movement of the shoulder joint due to the injury of the axillary nerve. This is an X-ray of shoulder joint, and we can see there is a dislocation near to the arrow which is shown, and it is the axillary nerve which gets injured during the dislocation of the shoulder joint. Peripheral chemoreceptors respond to hypoxia using which channel? A. Potassium channel, B. Calcium channel, C. Sodium channel, and D. Chloride channel. The answer for today's question is potassium channels. Now let's see the mechanism how peripheral chemoreceptors responds to hypoxia through potassium channels. Peripheral chemoreceptors are present in two sites, aortic bodies and carotid bodies, and they stimulate the respiratory center. It is the type 1 glomus cell that which stimulate the oxygen sensitive potassium channels. So the mechanism is the hypoxia leads to the closure of potassium channels. Followingly, depolarization occurs and the action potential is produced. The action potential then travels through the sensory nerve and then stimulate the respiratory center, which leads to increased ventilation, and followingly the partial pressure of oxygen comes back to normal. This is the mechanism. Hope you are clear with the question. Thank you.